Welcome to Code Jogging. In this video, we are going to look at TabLayout in Compose UI. TabLayout allows us to load multiple screens or multiple pages in a single page, or it allows us to navigate to related content in a single page. For example, we can have home, chat, contact, and then call pages in our app. With the help of the tab layout, we can load all the pages in a single page, that's the parent page, and when a tab is selected, then we load its related content. So in this video, we are going to create tabs for home, chat, contact, and then calls. So for us not to forget, let's list the tabs we are going to have: home, chat, contact, and then calls. So we are going to create a simple app that shows how to implement tab layout in our project. So for us to do that, first we have to create a class that will hold the properties of the tab. Okay, so what we are going to look at is the class will have 3 parameters or attributes or properties, and these properties will be: a tab must have a title. That's for our project. You will decide what properties your tab must have. So in these tutorials, we are going to look at 3 parameters. So the first one will be the title, the second one will be the icon, and then the third one will be the screen. Okay, and we are going to name our class tab row item. So let's create our class. We are going to create an object that's data class tab row item, and then we are going to list the properties we have at the top here. So we play this one var, this one var, and then this one var. So this one will be a string. Okay, and then this one will be an image vector, that's for icons, image vector, and then this one will be a composable callback, then add our unit. Yes, so these are the properties we want our tab item to inherit or must have. So the next step is creating our screen. So as we've learned from our previous videos where we spoke about composable functions, it means that we are going to create a UI, okay, a unique UI for our app which can be reusable in our project. Okay, so now the function will be called tab screen for easy identification. So we have to use the tab screen, and then it will accept only one parameter for now, that's the title. Okay, so the next step is to create a container. For the sake of this tutorial, we're going to create a simple page that will be used for all the pages that we are going to create. Okay, so this one will serve as a container. So we call the box layout, and box layout is one of the layout elements in the layout groups. So we use the fill max size, we import the modifier, then we are going to center the content, and here is going to have only one chart or one chart element, so we have to center it. Then we will call test Okay, test, then we have to import it. Let's import test. Then we will have test equal title. Okay, and then the style, we are going to use the typography. Let's import it. Dot body medium. Okay, so now we've created our custom screen. So it means that when we click on chat, we will pass the title to it, and then we will display the text here. So we will display chat here at the center of our screen. Okay, so now we've created the properties for our tab and then the custom string. The next step is to create our tab layout. And before we can create our tab layout, we have to use a list to identify the number of tabs we are going to use. And as we've done in our previous videos, when we were dealing with bottom navigation, we used pair to hold the bottom navigation items, and the pair where the first parameter was the icon and the second parameter was the label name. Okay, so here, since we are having three properties here, that's the title, icon, and the screen, we have to use this object here. Okay, so now we will create our variable tab row items, then we use the list. But inside the list, we have to call this class and then add all the properties to it. So title equals, this one will be home. Okay, icon equal, this one will be icons dot fill dot home, and then screen equal, then it's a callback, then we call our custom screen, then we pass the parameter home. So it means that when home is selected, we are going to display home at the center of our screen. Okay, so we can bring comma, and then we can do the same for the rest of the items. Chat, let's check from here. Chat contacts, let me copy and paste contact, and then we have calls. So chat, we are going to use chat as an icon. Okay, and then here we have to change it to chat. Let's make it plural. So here will be contacts, and then here will be contact, then here will be call, and then here will be calls. Okay, so now we've created our tab row items. So this is the number of items we are going to show in our tab row. So let's collapse this one, and then before we can create our tab layout, we are going to use pager. The pager we are going to use here is the horizontal pager. The horizontal pager will help us to transition from one screen to another. Okay, so it means that when we first load the page, it loads the initial page, that's the 0 index, and here our initial page is home. So when we click on the chat, then we will transition from the home page to the chat page, and the same thing applies to the rest. So for us to do that, then we have to create a variable called page state or pager state equal remember pager states. Let me read again. Remember pager states. Okay, it says there's no function called pager state. That's true, because we've not imported our pager into our project, and we can do that by visiting this page. Okay, so you can check the URL here, and then you enter. You alight, or you will land on this page. Then we copy this too. So we are going to add this library to our project. This means that we have to go to the Gradle. Let's paste our code. Then let's get the version. You can get the version by scrolling to the changes here. Okay, so let's change the version here to our version, and then let's change this one too. And now our Gradle is telling us that no, whatever library we've imported here, there's an upgraded version, so we want to change it to that. Then we click on changes to yes. So the same thing, then we change it to the current version, then we sync. So we are now downloading our library. So now it has finished downloading it. It means that the library has now become part of our project. So now let's go to our main page, our main activity, and see, yes, now it's giving us the chance to import it into our project. And it's saying that this one is experimental. It can, the API may be changed in the future. Yes, so we need to import. Now we've done that, and what we imported was the experimental pager API. That's what is showing here. So now the next step is to call scope. That's the coroutine scope, and then we call remember coroutine scope. Okay, so now these are the most two important variables we need to create. So this pager stage will allows us to navigate from one screen to another. So this one will be a navigator. Okay, so the next step is to create our row. So for us to do that, we need to create a parent container, and the kind of container we are going to use the column, which is part of the layout groups in Compose UI. The columns allows us to arrange each child element vertically. It means that we want the top row to be at the top, and then we want the horizontal pager or the vertical pager to be at the bottom, or to be at the bottom of the top row, so that the top row will be on top of the horizontal pager or vertical pager. And that's what we are going to do. So let's call our column, then let's make the size fill modifier, the size fill max size. Okay, so now the next step is to create the row. Then we call the top row. Okay, so the top row, then the selected tab should be the same as the page state's current page. So it means that it's going to pick the current page index and then assign it as a selected tab. Okay, so now what we are going to do next is to call the pager. So we are going to use a horizontal pager, and then the count will be the total row items here, dot size. Okay, and then the state. So we are now tying, or we are now binding the state to the page loader. Okay, so now we are able to call two components, and that's the top row and then the horizontal pager here. So now let's work on the top row. What we are going to do is, first we've handled the selected tab index. Now if a tab is selected, what can we show up to the user that this tab is what we've selected? Now what we are going to do here is we are going to use a line. Okay, so it means that at the bottom of the selected tab we are going to add a line to it, and the line must have a color that will let the person know that this is the selected tab. So in this video we are going to use red to represent our red line. So our line color must be red, so the selected tab must have a red line color, and we can achieve that by calling the indicator here, and then the indicator will give us a callback function. Okay, then we are going to design our color. So the red line, this is how we are going to design it. That's the top row default. Then we have indicator, we have the modifier, the height, and then the color. So now what we are going to look at is the height. We want the height to be let's say 5 dp. Let's import the dp, comma, the modifier. Then we have modifier pager tab indicator. So now this is the modifier we are going to add to the selected tab. We are going to add a red line to the selected tab, and that's the code we are writing here. So the first parameter is the pager state, and the second parameter must be tab position. Okay, so let's pass the tab position here. Okay, because we've called pager free, material free tab row, so let's go to our code and then remove the pager free, and then let's import this one again. We are now going to import compose UI material. So compose material. Okay, so now we've handled the selected or the active tab. Now the next step is to display the tabs, and bear in mind that we've listed our tab items here. So we are going to use for each index to load through our tab row items. So for each index, so let's change this one to item, and then we are going to call tab. So we are going to call tab. Okay, so the first step is to add the selected, and here for us to get the selected tab, it means that the tab index here must be the same as pager state dot current page. So pager state dot current page equals index, comma, then you have to add on click. Okay, if this one is clicked, if the tab is selected, what action do we want to perform? Okay, and then you have to add icons, which is a callback, and then we can add a test which is a callback too. So here we can add our test, and then test will be items dot title, star will be typography dot label or dot body small. We run it, and then if the text is too small, then you increase it. So color equals color white. You can use any color, but because the default background for our tab will be our primary color, then let's change the background the text color to white. So now let's go through our code once again and then confirm. Okay, so let me break this one, then let me break this one, then let me break this one. Okay, so here there might be a possibility that we can have a lengthy tab label, so we don't want the length to exceed 1, and if the length exceeds 1, then we need to check the overflow. So the overflow becomes text overflow ellipsis, so we want to add 3 dot 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 at the end of the text. Okay, so now let's run our code and then see the output. So let's run it, hoping that there won't be any syntax error or runtime error. Okay, so now let's view our code. Yes, now we have our code, but we are finding it difficult to view the underlying text here. So let's change the color to red. So we can do that by adding color red to our indicator color equals color red. Yes, so now we've added color red to our underline here. So now the next goal is to make the rest of the tabs have an active underline color here, so that when we click on the tab we can move it, and when we click here we can move the red line to the chart, showing that that's the active tab. Now what we can achieve that by performing the logic inside the onClick listener here. So for us to achieve that, we need to call the coroutine scope dot launch. Okay, then we can call pager dot animate to animate scroll to page, then we pass the index here. Okay, so let's run our code again. And then let's try and see. Yes, now our tab layout is working perfectly. Okay, so the next step is to update our page. So if a chart is selected, we need to tell the person that, because we have a template or we have a sample screen here, that we are going to display the screen. So let's call it here, then we will pass item, that's the tab row item, then we will pass the pager.currentPage, then we will call the screen. Okay, so now let's run our code again. Okay, so now let's navigate through and then see if the home page will change to contact. Yes, so now our tab layout is working perfectly. The last thing we are going to look at is the icon, because in our tab row item properties we listed icon. Okay, so we can add the icon to the tab row by calling the icon here. So let's type icon. Okay, let's import the icon. Then we have the image vector, that's item.icon. Then tint, that's the icon color, should be white. And then content description should be item.name or .title. Yes. So now let's run our code again. There we will notice that we have icon on top of our tab items. Yes. So now we have icon on top of our tab items. Okay, so now this is how we can implement tab layout in our project, and I believe you can add a lot of pages and also design a lot of screens and then assign it to the tabs, like how we've done the custom screen here. We can also call a unique component or unique UI component. Instead of having one container for it, we can create multiple screens here which will have their own separate data in it. But bear in mind that the purpose for tab layout is to help us to navigate quickly to related content when a tab is clicked and a screen is being tied to a tab. Okay, so this is where we will end our video. In case you have any questions, you can leave it at the comment section, and if you are happy and there are some suggestions you need to send it to us, we'll be happy to receive it as soon as possible by sending it to the mail on the channel, and once we receive it, we will give you feedback as soon as possible. Thank you for watching this video. See you in our next video. Bye bye.